Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 36 of Serendipity. This one's titled Darby Fried Chicken. Darby doesn't show up. It's just a code for burnt. Sorry, not sorry. The next morning, you and Deku were at work early. There were a fair few meetings scheduled for the day and it was looking pretty hectic. Yin, can I have a moment with you? The receptionist asked as she knocked on your office door. Sure, B. Come on in, you replied happily. She smiled and entered, closing the door swiftly behind her. Hey, so, I know a villain interrupted your anniversary dinner a few nights back, she said as she walked over to the lounge near the desk and sat down. Yeah, unfortunately, you sighed, printing a copy of a document with your quirk. But, I mean, the night wasn't all bad, you said with a smirk. Okay, I'm not even going to ask because I know I can see it written on your face. I know what you're going to say and it's not PG rated, the receptionist said with a laugh. Mm-hmm, you replied, a cheeky hidden smile pulling at your lips as you focused on your work. So, I'm assuming he hasn't popped the question yet though? When's he going to ask you to marry him? She suddenly whined. I don't know, you shot back. Don't look at me, I'm just as in the dark as you are. I thought maybe he might, pop the question on the anniversary night, but it never came. Like, he was at the jewelry store and he'd been acting so sus, so I seriously thought that maybe he might do it that night, but am I just getting my hopes up? You sighed. Sorry, don't mind me. No, I completely understand the frustration, she replied sympathetically. And I haven't seen any sign of a ring either, so I can't help you, unfortunately. Maybe he's just not ready yet, you said sadly. As if, she snorted. It's been 5 years. If he's not ready now, he'll never be. Has he got any other special dates lined up for you? She asked hopefully. Well, yeah, on the weekend. He wants to cook a special dinner at home for me, you replied. But it's low-key. He wouldn't do it then, would he? He might, if he's trying to avoid villain attacks, the receptionist said with a laugh. Poor guy. All he probably wants to do is have a normal life, but no. Anyway, someone's always out there wanting to challenge him. You sighed. Yeah, well, that's life, isn't it? Yin, you go and relax in the lounge room, okay? Deku said excitedly as he put the "This chef is plus ultra" apron on. It was yours actually, but it looked so friggin' adorable on him, frills and all. You giggled. Sure, Izu, you replied as he kissed his cheek and skipped off to the lounge room to relax. He smiled as he watched you go, tying the apron around his waist. I'm so lucky, he thought. He then turned his attention to the task at hand, making the world's best dinner so that he could then propose after. First he opened his camera roll on his phone and enlarged the screenshots that he'd taken of the recipes and cooking instructions, propping the phone up on the backboard of the kitchen bench. Okay. Collect ingredients, he thought. He busied himself running back and forth from the phone to various points in the kitchen, getting everything together. Okay, it says, prepare the pan for frying. Heat, oil. He reached for the oil bottle and sloshed a generous amount of oil into the frying pan and placed it on the stovetop, switching the heating pad on high and stepping back with an approving nod. Yes, done. He dusted his hands happily against each other and then went back to his phone to see what to do next. Chop ingredients and prepare spices. One by one, he placed the vegetables on the chopping board and cut them up, his tongue poking out slightly to the side as he concentrated on the difficult job of avoiding chopping his fingers. These look great. So far so good, he praised mentally. Then he checked the next step. Place meat in frying pan. He picked up the chopped meat and carried it to the waiting frying pan, dropping it in unceremoniously. The oil was well and truly heated by now, and the minute the meat hit the pan it sizzled furiously and spat oil everywhere. Ah! Deku yelped, jumping back to avoid the hot spits of oil. His back hit the table and knocked a discarded glass of water over that spilled water all over the floor. He heard the noise and spun around just in time to see the glass roll off the table and smash on the floor. Oh no! He yelled. Izu? You called from the lounge room. Are you okay? You had heard the sizzle of the oil and him yell, then the crash of glass shattering, followed by another yell, and thought that you should call out and see if he needed some help. No, I'm okay, he replied frantically as he tiptoed around the water and smashed glass to get a towel and dustbin and brush. He focused wholeheartedly on cleaning up the mess, so much so that he forgot all about the meat in the pan. As he stood up from his crouched position, he became keenly aware of the smoke that was filling the kitchen. The meat! He gasped, running forward to yank the pan off the stovetop. The meat was black and charred, and his first thought was to cool it down by putting it in the sink and dousing it with water. He carried the smoking pan carefully and then dropped it into the sink, flicking the tap on. As the cool water hit the smoking oil and meat, it screamed and steamed everywhere, hot spits of oil flying from the pan and splattering over Deku. He screeched again, stumbling back as smoke and steam engulfed the room. Suddenly the smoke alarm came on and beeped loudly, alerting the occupants to the possibility of a fire. "Izu, what's happened?" you cried as you came running into the kitchen. You stopped short and gasped, covering your gaping mouth with your hands. I'm so sorry," Deku stuttered apologetically. Just then, small fire sprinklers came on, spraying the two of you as you stood there in shock. "We need to get out," you cried as you ran forward and grabbed his hand before pulling him out of the kitchen and into the hallway. "Wait, Yin, the tap!" He raced back in and turned the kitchen tap off before racing back to you. When he looked up into your eyes, he found that there were tears in them. "Yin, I'm so sorry. Forgive me," he cried as he bowed low. "Oh, baby Deku, it's okay. We'll just hang in there for the next chapter. Ganbareo! Here we go with chapter 37 coming tomorrow.